With great pleasure, I welcome you to today's edition of Africa Discourse. We take our time to look at the issues engulfing Africa, political-wise and otherwise, and looking at what we have today, which is on the fight against corruption, corruption fight in Africa. And we're taking a close look at South Africa on the scandal engulfing the South African President, Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, there are calls on the South African President, Cyril Ramaphosa, to step down over allegations of corruption. And the former intelligence agency head, in the person of Fraser Attoh, really brought allegations against the president, saying that he was really involved in the covering of thefts in tune of millions of dollars in U.S. currency that was hidden inside the furniture in his farm gate. And looking at what has happened, the constellation of this alleged amount of money in his farmhouse, issues have been up, and the opposition parties, that is also really lawmakers in the House of Parliament, are also raising hard to ensure that he gets impeached. And looking at the need for him to also clear his name, there are issues surrounding this. And how do we make this as a case study to reflect on African countries in order to bring about respite in the fight against corruption in Africa? This will be determined by our distinguished guests in the studio right now with me. First of all, my name is Philip Omo-Gupon, and having very, very great guests with me, starting from my extreme left, where I have the convener of the Concerned Edo Citizens Forum, and he is also a public affairs analyst, the voice of the commoner, human rights activist. He is all of every kind in a bundle, and he is Roy Oribabo. Thanks for joining me, Roy.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Today is very unique in my life.
Of course, yes. Today happens to be your birthday, and I want to use this as an opportunity to say happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Despite the Africa, the way we have positioned ourselves does not come for celebration, but it deep sober reflection. But because it's my birthday, let me just marley to be happy for today.
And for the very fact that you are the voice of the commoner,
yes,
and you are still breathing today, it shows that there's hope for the commoners.
Of course, serious hope.
That's the essence of celebrating this day.
Thank you, sir.
Marking your birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Once again, happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
And next to him is the former SSA to the governor of Edo State on youth and development. He is also a social media influencer, a politician, and he is Collins Amadi. Thanks for joining me, Collins.
Thank you very much, Philip, and good afternoon, viewers out there.
All right, there was a 12th edition of the meeting involving heads of anti-graft agencies in Commonwealth Africa, and this took place on May 6th, and the whole forum was about ending corruption in Africa. The huge amount of money, otherwise known as humongous amounts of money, that have been laundered, moving from African countries to other Western world, has been really alarming. And the need to put an end to this was the crux of the 12th edition of the Commonwealth Conference that held in Kigali. And looking at this again, also engulfing that of the South African president. A lot is expected from Africa, looking at the challenges we are faced with. But well, even though it is an allegation concerning the president of South Africa, even though it's an allegation, but could we say that there could be an element of truth in all of this that is really facing the South African president?
No, well, it's an allegation. That issue we cannot run away from. But you also know that allegations over the years is a preamble to the reality on ground. Therefore, with the kind of caliber of personality Fraser, who are able to demonstrate that kind of courage, so you will know that that allegation is a very weighty allegation. It's a serious one that any serious person must take serious. You are aware of how Cyril Ramaphosa found himself in government. You were aware the same man who said that the former president, Jacob Zuma, that his hand will have been sweat that all of a sudden that the hand was no longer clean.
And is he facing trial today?
Is he facing trial? Therefore, what you say is a mere allegation where I concord with you. But it's a preamble to what will eventually happen.
But does it not show that he's been politically motivated, citing what you just raised?
No, it's not about politically motivated. The reality of God that we all humans are political animals. Anything we do, what we say, are a product of politics and politicking. Therefore, it's just for you to be upright. It's just that you are looking at me now, you are wishing me happy birthday today. Does that, if yesterday I say yesterday was my birthday, day first was my birthday, you begin to be bothered. You know? We are all human animals. Therefore, anything you do or you do, have a follow-up. And that is the reason why we've done it. One, you not ask yourself, Cyril Ramaphosa, is he a man that you can beat your chest for, considering the way and manner he found himself in government? Are you aware that Jacob Zuma never finished his tenure? You know? And one thing that is even very unique about this Cyril Ramaphosa is one of the very personalities I've just picked it on secretly, even from my house in Okodo. I keep on monitoring and managing. Because it was one of these, it's a billionaire, one of the South African billionaires who have been with ANC. You recall that he was in charge of the reconciliation committee of Mandela. When Mandela was even, he was the chairman of that committee. He was very prominent in the ANC struggle. You know, in terms of even post-ANC struggle, he was very prominent. For him now to succeed Jacob Zuma, that will also show to you that it's not a baby in that struggle in terms of actualization of South Africa, for South Africa to be a state of Eldorado. But my point I believe about those is that what is good for Jacob Zuma is also good for Cyril Ramaphosa. He should be able to just maintain those things. And because of the personalities involved, they are not talking. The allegation says that he kept some dollars in his furniture.
Yes.
And when they went there, was the money found? If the money was found, therefore, what does that show to you? What does that show?
Our president is saying that he has concrete evidence to substantiate what really his proof is.
The reason why I'm concerned about South Africa, the way manner they manage their corruption, the way manner they manage their people, is because they have a very strong institution. And that brought that to Nigeria. Can anybody in Nigeria accuse the city president that you kept money somewhere and we continue to remain? I will be discussing, as we are discussing now. My whole idea and belief about Africa is that South Africa have demonstrated that they have an institution that is working. An individual can take a decision and say, you just recall, Julius Malema, my very good friend, Julius Malema, we were together some time ago. You remember when the Jacob Zuma visited the parliament, you saw the way and manner he addressed the whole situation. Can that one happen in Nigeria? When you see that kind of, because their institutions are working. They are not seeing one superhuman being. They are looking at their institution. And South Africa is one of the very few countries in Africa that's giving us hope in Nigeria. That's why we remain struggle. Because we believe South Africa is gradually navigating towards that direction of a society that will be better for all of them. Therefore, we believe in that issue, they were thinking that once Nigeria gets it right, South Africa will get it. They later discovered that Nigeria was not even on the path of progression, that to get it right. Therefore, they are still taking their destiny in their. If you look at the economic wire and others, South Africa is doing perfectly well compared to Nigeria. Therefore, for a man, Fraser, to take that kind of boast, my brother, we must commend that man. We must salute that man because nobody, I say again, nobody on the surface of the in Nigeria that will dare do that against an incumbent president. Okay, in as much you are excited about this and you see it as a good development, looking at the ways in ensuring that we have transparency in governance, there are some Collins who argue that this could bring setback in administration. Now, you understand the great reputation Cyril Ramaphosa has and his fight against corruption, and this coming up. Basically, some have argued that for the very fact that it's coming from Arthur Fraser, who happens to be a loyalist to a faction that wants Ramaphosa out of office, and who also served, under Zuma, who is presently being facing trial, shows that there could be no truth in all of these allegations. Don't you think, in a whole, if this should be allowed to stretch further, it would be a setback on the administration in South Africa?
Thank you very much. The president of South Africa actually came on board, the president of Ramaphosa came on board on the basis of the integrity he has portrayed over the time. He has been one of those who have been preaching transparency in government, how government can be better, And the best ANC could do at the time Jacob Zuma hands was already being sold was to look for someone who could help rebuild South Africa in the path of integrity, having a leadership of honor. I'm sure that was what brought him in. But however, he has not really derailed from that, as it were. But you know, he that must come to equity must come with clean hands. At a time, not that now, him, the president, he's not directly accused. If we go back to the nitty-gritty of all of this thing, from the 1st of June 2010, when Altor started this struggle, that the man you claim to be sent is not as sent as a thing. You know, in 2016 to 2008, that was when this man was the head of the spy, who is accusing
Arthur Fraser.
Arthur Fraser.
You mean from 2016 to 2018?
2016 to 2018, he was actually in charge of their intelligence in South Africa. So he had most of those records.
Cases.
And so, do you know the interesting thing about all this? The president have also owned to the fact, because one, he had both video evidence, written and unwritten, that he has presented before the station. Now, what the president had even said, yes, something happened. He was aware. He reported to his ADC administrator, which is not the police station. I think that's the latest. There was a report to that effect to him. So to him, I'm sure the president maybe will expect that his ADC or his head of his security unit, the presidential security unit, should go ahead and do the formal what have you, but which ought not to be. But I know the president himself knows he's in trouble. This 69-year-old man, very much aware that he has run foul.
Yes, to put the record straight, what was said was that the presidential unit of Cyril Ramaphosa 2 years back,
yes,
caught these robbers, that we hid the money,
in the president's farm?
Yes, caught these robbers and kind of bribed them to be quiet about the incidents. And
hopefully kidnap the man,
kidnapped in the farm gate.
Yes, that is all we are saying. In all of this, the president was aware.
Yeah.
Now, maybe because it has something to do with his farm, some set of people would have also said, why don't we allow this thing just go this way? Maybe the president may have not directly have even taken bribe in all of these things. Because now it's more like a bribery scandal. Not that there is any allegation directly owed to the president or being involved in that money. Now,
no, you are getting it wrong. You cannot say that. Because we have been told there was money that was hidden somewhere.
Yes, sir, in the furniture, yes,
of the farmhouse.
Now,
even his own reply to them that he was aware somebody stole money somewhere and come and keep on. That's also already an indictment. Does he even have the power to even want to be dealing with the head of security unit? South Africa is not a banana republic. Why we expect him to quickly
let me land. I think
yes.
Yeah. Now, that is exactly what I'm saying. Now, you stole. You aided someone who stole. By law, you are both criminals. What where the president had got himself a victim now is that he was aware it was in his farm. He ought to make it even public. Just as you saw, for example, referencing it to Nigeria, for example. We have seen over the time where there were direct corruption in government, where we had sitting president. Some persons were accused. In previous government, for example, like the President Jonathan government, nobody was asked to step down. Nobody was directly asked to be investigated by security agencies, for example. But also, you also saw in another administration where sitting secretary to federal government and many others were asked to step down to be investigated, whether the conclusion had come or not. Those were steps of leaders wanting to exonerate themselves. Now, Ramaphosa had 4 shots. That was why you saw even twice he has gone to the parliament since when this issue started. He has been shut down, and shut down by parliamentarians because, just as my brother had said, we have a working institution. Now, you can't do that in some other part of Africa country.
In Nigeria, be specific.
But although the investigations are still going on.
Of course, that's what we are saying.
And it has not been proved
yet. It's ongoing. Now, the agitation is that...
So being that as it is, the question is, Is this not affecting the government of Cyril Ramaphosa?
Certainly,
in stabilizing the economy.
Certainly.
Should this be what they should be looking at now?
No, it may not directly affect when there are institutions running. Everybody has his role to play. It's not a bricklayer work that the president must carry Smith and go and supply first. So you are doing your own. So when you have institutions, their very center is only just to, toss and say go and go on. It's even going to help and strengthen South Africa more. It is even going to help the president to be more careful within a few days or weeks or months or years he would have left if he's not asked to fully step aside. But the way it's going now, I am convinced and I know he will be asked to step aside. If Jacob Zuma could be a victim of such, then anybody can, as mighty as Jacob Zuma feels he was when he was president in South Africa. But still, there was an institution that has been built that was able to muzzle him, package him, humble him, and at the end, the laid down rules of South Africa were meant to operate the way it's supposed to operate. That was why Jacob Zuma had to, step aside. But just as it goes now, it's not yet before a competent court of law in South Africa.
No, it's not yet.
It's just within the police and the presidency as it were now.
Let's look at what other parties, about two parties, the opposition parties, applied to the House of Parliament that Cyril Ramaphosa should be placed on sabbatical leave. But this again was rejected by the Speaker. Do you concur with the way the Speaker rejected that?
That is the Africa in us. When I watched it and I saw the way and manner, the rejection, I just bowed my head in shame again, confirmed that of a truth we're Africa, despite the strong institutions South Africa have built themselves over the years. What happened in Jacob Zuma, you recall, it is the same institution that forced him out.
Sure. But don't you think the House
of Parliament
is looking at, they operate a parliamentary system of government.
Yes.
And the House of Parliament is looking at concrete evidence.
Yeah.
Before they can place such a hold on the office of the president. Because the office of the president is not an office you can just wish away.
Now, take your mind back. I don't know the level of research you have done on this subject matter. Take your mind back to what happened to Jacob Zuma. And I was right now Benicio when I was named my foundation. I said, what is good for Jacob Zuma is good for Cyril Ramaphosa. You understand me? You cannot all of a sudden, trying to whittle down things where you know the reality. My brother, in Europe, in the West, in the US, once there is a very witty allegation on you, for you to clear yourself head, you step aside. South Africa is navigating towards the direction of hope for Africa.
Is it at every allegation you just step aside? If we advise this in governance, we're going to be having a chaotic. Let me tell you. There's nothing chaotic in anywhere.
One, because we are human beings. Human beings by birth and nature want to be very dubious. If you have an opportunity to study the theory of human being, or even society formulation, a theory that was theorized by one of my boson grandfather, Thomas Hall, you will understand more better that it's human nature. You are looking at me now, you are looking how to outsmart me. It's natural about human. You want to top your fellow human, but what regulates is the law.
Yes.
It is the regulation. And that's the reason why the theory of law was formulated. What am I telling you? Is that one, Cyril Ramaphosa, because of his own, who he is as a man, he was one of those I have serious regard for. You recall, I said that. Because he was already one of the richest men in South Africa. And he was also very concerned about the South Africa struggle during the era. You know something? Therefore, to me, there are things you don't need to, just as I was coming here and I saw somebody who walked to the other way, you said go back. I will say I will go back because I'm running, but I want to follow it doesn't make sense. Jacob Zuma passed through this road on allegation. It was the matter is pending now. What is wrong with Cyril Ramaphosa to also say, well, let me allow the institution to take its place. Because we cannot continue to build a superhuman being in Africa and expect results. And that is what, anytime I see Cyril Ramaphosa, I'm looking at my very senior friend, the former president of the US, and I supported so much and I love so much. You understand, the former president. That is the attitude. Donald. Yes, that is the attitude. That somebody is telling you, he benefited from an allegation. Are you not aware? A mere allegation, that was why Jacob Zuma was thrown out. Now he is now trying to superimpose. It's not possible, and it did not happen in South Africa. The South African people I know.
An empirical sample on what just transpired, you know, it's making some scholars think this way about parliamentary immunity, you know, and looking at it, if you juxtapose between Nigeria, kind of system of government, which is the presidential, with that of the parliamentary system being run by South Africa, do you see an advantage that the Nigerian system of government has over that of South Africa in terms of the immunity clause?
Of course, you cannot really compare. In a parliamentary system, the parliament is more powerful. There are more decisions they can take. They are more like both being judiciary and being a parliamentarian. They have that, the constitution empowers them and such, you know, but that's it made. That is why...
To check the president.
Yeah, of course, to check the executive as it were. That is why you can see, and I personally appreciated, even the way the parliamentarian system of South Africa have gone over the time. It's not just because you have an authority. If, for example, Nigeria be practicing parliamentarian system, you could see the way our parliament would have been misbehaving. At every given point, they would throw up the president at will. Now, thank God, we're actually sacked.
So that would have brought in madness.
Madness, serious madness. Now, especially when people have...
So are you not saying that there seems to be sanity?
Of course, there is sanity with South Africa's system of parliament.
No. With that of Nigeria, being that they have...
No, where we are now, I think it's better for us. The presidential system directly we are operating now, for now, I think is best for us. Because with the kind of crops of people we also have over the time that have marked our parliament, we wouldn't have even think of that.
But if you look at it clearly, I know you still have the floor.
I just wanted to finish that point. Now, talking about the way the parliament leadership rejected the motion that the president must be sent on sabbatical leave. Just to remind him, Jacob Zuma, in the time of his crisis, he took over 1.5 years of fighting that Jacob Zuma must step down. Motion was moved, said to the parliament many a time, and even the parliaments at then did not oblige, because they wanted to be very sure before they disgrace the office of their president.
And that's what makes sense.
Yes, and that's what made a lot of sense. And you see how much they took at their time. It took the party itself, ANC. It was then ANC who moved at the party caucus meeting, now mandating the parliamentarian under ANC to support the motion in the parliament that will be raised forthwith that Jacob Zuma should step down. So at that time, Jacob Zuma have lost that in the parliament, have lost that at the party level. Because one, you weren't an independent candidate, you were a party candidate. It's only in Nigeria that party many a time have been mesmerized, where one person will come and say, I am the leader of the party. If you don't obey me, there will be problem. In a working system where things will move, there is no one individual, because you have been given the opportunity, will come and be saying you are a leader of a party. Leading which party? You can't do it. It's only in Nigeria here, for example, you see Nigeria as a case study, that we have seen that over the time. But however, I just wanted to make reference, to that. You can see that even Zuma, it took a lengthy time. It took a lot of investigation. Even Zuma himself knew that at this point, though the parliament does not have right to send him to prison, that is what the court need to do. The parliament haven't done their investigation. The party haven't done their own investigation. They got the win that is nowhere. If we allow him to remain, it will have a real dent on the party. At this point, that was why you saw that ANC could also come out the way they came out at that time, because they took a position that was firm. They took a position that the citizenry itself knew that they were running a great party system. And that was why you saw that he was now being later transferred to court, to the court who have the civic rights to then try and be sentenced, now went over and he's now going over the case. That is why you see the case is still on.
Okay.
Though he's still trying to, to muzzle.
Okay, in as much as you are looking at the objective, the better side of the system of government that we run here in Nigeria, now also making comparison, don't you think that puts much powers in the office of the president in Nigeria? Which to a great extent, can't be properly checked?
Not putting much power, but because over the time we have always had hallelujah representation. That is why we see it so. Why have I said hallelujah representations? Now, we have a judicial system, whom ordinarily we even think are outside the government. The masses, the ordinary people don't hold them. We think they don't have a role they are playing. They are even worse even in none of this democracy we are talking about. They ought to be the one in the presidential system. The judiciary is the real organ in the administration, even in everything. You check the executive, you check the parliament.
Okay.
Now, because the judiciary is four shots, they are even the one happy to create more of the crisis. But our citizens over the time have continuously looked at the executive and the parliament, which is the legislature, as if they are our major problem. The major problem in a presidential system as it concerns Nigeria today is the judiciary.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm asking you that same question because there seems to be too much power concentrated on the president in Nigeria. Take, for instance, looking at the presidential system. Comparatively, what do you think are the lapses we have here?
The research we have conducted so far showed that president of Nigeria, if you happen to be the president of Nigeria, you are a demigod. It's one of the most potent and powerful presidents on the surface of the earth.
Okay, does the presidential system of government, did it make it so?
No!
It's as a result of personality.
Because of who we are.
Okay.
Because of who we are.
Yeah.
Presidential system of government, where do we copy the president of the U.S.? Have we been able to follow the rules and the letters as U.S. have demonstrated over the years? The answer is no. The answer is no. You have seen some persons in this country who will come and talk against our constitution because they are supporting the president. We are talking about, even if we are not, since we are not narrowing it down to Nigeria, we are talking about after the service, Buhari has been the president for 7 years. He wants to continue the 8 years. And some persons like us who are not even from the southeast, we are saying it's the turn of the southeast. There one man from the southeast who have benefited so much from the southeast. A man called Kalu. He said no. He said no. He said should be the not. Then even the people in his village, the grandmother and the mother have seen the son, but the sick people said no. That's who we are. That was the reason why we were talking about judiciary. And look at them. Nobody should attack judiciary in Nigeria because that is who we are. The same market that Amadi will be going to this evening to go and buy, that is where the judiciary want to buy. The Amadi that want to go home and go and sleep with generator, the judiciary want to also go home and sleep with generator. How do they get it? Everybody now resort to self-help. That is who we are because we are now resorting to self-help. Let us not look at one institution or a unit of an institution to castigate because we want to make a point. I have serious regret for the judiciary. They are there because they are not different. Amadi, you are seeing now because he was when he was SSA, he drove above the traffic. I saw it somebody because he was traffic. Yeah, because he was in power.
Can you prove that?
It's not because he was in power. That is Nigeria in all of us. Let us not pretend about it. Once you have little opportunity, you capitalize on it to oppress any other person. And I've asked people. I'm one of those who have asked people. When somebody told me, Roy, how come all of a sudden your relationship with God and all those things, you don't come to church as supposed to be? And I told them, I said, Pastor, you are doing well. I said, I love you. I said, within the confine, the rules and regulations given to you as my pastor, have you followed it? Amadi, as a former SSA to the governor of Edo State, did he follow the rule?
Okay.
You as a worker here, if you are who we as a people, let us first of all define ourselves. We just saw it 2 days ago in Ekiti, that to the level that people will collect, Ekiti election was now reduced to a reminiscent of market disposition. Was shooting for buying and selling, and those who are selling are happy, they will collect and video themselves. That is who we are. We must face that reality. It's a naked reality.
Okay, but we must move away. We must move away from what you think we are.
How do we
to a better society, a better people? So now, if looking at what transpired in South Africa, their system of government and their socialization. Now, how do we galvanize us here? You know, to be like that in South Africa.
How do we do that? One, we don't need one superhuman being. We don't need one say Baba. You know, we don't need one Jagaban.
Isn't that weird?
We are looking
Isn't that weird? Some have said that the system of government we practice here seem to put too much powers.
Well, do we have a system we practice? I told you that what kind of system of government we practice in Nigeria. What kind of system? I've just asked what kind of system do we practice. We don't have a system. Nigeria formulated what they like, and that is what they are doing.
And it's autocracy.
Yes, there is nothing. What are you saying?
Because it's far from it's far from the US that we meet.
I'm just reading your news banner that those who never partook in primary, who were contesting presidency, their name have just been shortlisted. My brother, that is who we are. Until we address who we are, then we know we are now aware that we have disappointed ourselves, that we now say, no, let's forge ourselves. That is what I'm telling you, man. Let us first accept who we are as a people. What kind of system of government are we practicing? How are you going to write it? I'll be doing a research about the Nigerian system of government. I have never seen where even the US will copy it for. Does not operate like that. People were still able to rise up against Donald Trump, a very good friend. I said, no, you can't continue like this. These are the institutions, and it works. In Nigeria here, can that happen? And that's the reason why I'm talking about strong institutions. And the reason why tomorrow somebody like Obasanjo, I find it difficult to take him serious. When he became the president, he dismantled the structure of political party and said the governors are not the leaders of their state, and the president is not the leader of party. ANC as a strong political party can still dress up. All these allegations they are talking about Cyril Ramaphosa is just for a matter. Once the party have all information and they are convinced that that is issue, the man will go down. Yeah. The man will certainly go down once they are convinced that the information is there. Let us not be. The same man who also accused is also a member of the party. Sure. You also get all this. Okay. Can that happen in your country?
Okay, what is the strength in the parliamentary system
it's not about,
that can be taken?
It's not about parliamentary system.
I'm not asking you.
It's not about parliamentary. Who are we?
I know. What is the strength that can be taken? What are the benefits that can be borrowed from that system, you know, to galvanize our National Assembly, for instance, to check the oversight functions of the executive?
Ordinarily, the main benefits of operating a parliamentary system is that they have total autonomy.
Basically,
when I mean total autonomy, they cannot be overchecked during the course of doing their job by any other arms of government. Now, they help to guide those who does the day and day running of governance. Because running a parliamentary system of government does not mean they will be the one going to award contracts and what have you. The main executive organs are still there to do their job. But the other now is that every paper that must be signed, not these ones you have,
must be deliberated in the House of Parliament.
Of course. Every constituencies must make total contribution.
Doesn't it make the whole process of governance slow? Because if you mean every policy must be debated, it means that a lot of policies may not fly at the end of the day.
Yes, because you can't just wake up and be flying policies that cannot help the citizens. Anything that must have a positive effect in the life of those who are governing must go through total scrutiny. And that is what ordinarily government is meant for. It's not a situation, a system where one governor will come or one president will come. There is already a project ongoing. He will come up and cancel it and give it to his other uncle and say the other contractor was not good. In a parliamentary system of government, before you do things like that, there must be concrete reason before those who gave you the same power to approve that contract and say we want to recall this contractor on the basis of A, Y, Z. Everybody must look into it.
But isn't that what is also obtainable in Nigeria? Like the Electoral Law 2022, for instance, the Electoral Act 2022, where, you know, it has to go through the National Assembly. You know, it went through a lot before the president gave assent and all that.
The electoral
isn't it the same?
The electoral
so how different is it?
The electoral act in Nigeria are basically propagated or prepared by those who will calculate if we do it like this, Are we going to win our primaries?
What they know when they come back to say let's readjust.
If they see that they are likely not to win with it, they will start crying and asking for the president to reassign the previous one. Now that was what you saw. That's why you see many parliamentarians people going back, because they thought the new arrangement would favor them. But however, we are praying. Nigeria is a draft just as it is now. But I'm very convinced that one day somebody is going to redraft it.
Okay.
It's going to be like a joke. He's just going to draft it. Who will do it? That I cannot 100% say for now.
Okay,
but I just believe that something is going to happen.
Back to South Africa. Basically, investigations are on, and the House of Parliament is looking at it through to ensure that justice is served. And this is actually a system of government where you have the judiciary as very, very independent. Now, what are your nudges or what are your expectations, on how the system of government in South Africa will pan this out for Cyril Ramaphosa?
I have serious regard and respect for South Africa, especially the way they have managed their democracy. One of the big things you remember the foundation that was led by Nelson Mandela, one of those personalities I believe on that put me into struggle.
Yeah.
That egalitarian society is possible. That's why he was not able to achieve that. But it's one of those anytime I look at the foundation he laid for South Africa, yours sincerely is always Agamalazi. I'm happy because he might have done well. Yeah. You look at his age after 4 years, he said, I'm no longer interested. And people were putting pressure on him. He said, no, I'm not interested. I've done what I'm supposed to do. On the strength of that was the belief and the arrangement of the political party he belongs to. One, they have that hegemonic disposition to call an individual or a member to order. Even against us all, Nelson Mandela was one of the most celebrated human beings on earth. Yeah. He can win, and Nelson Mandela at the time can be in South Africa, win election in Nigeria, win election in the US.
Sure.
Anywhere. But the man was not carried away. He was not carried away. That's the reason why I'm still believing that with what have happened in South Africa, especially now it have happened before to Jacob Zuma. See, it's a matter of days and time. It's counting. The ANC as a political party, it's one of the oldest political parties in Africa. I hope you're also aware of that. They have done over 100 years. It's a party who believe that when they give you institution, they work on it. Different scholars are forecasting, are predicting that ANC, if they don't do well, they will fall.
Okay, by this, are you saying that there's an evil day waiting Cyril Ramaphosa in all of this?
I have never seen an empire that remains forever. I've never seen it. Therefore, unless you are
so you are saying that he's not going to complete his term?
No, what's ANC? I'm not even looking at the parliamentarians. I'm looking at the party he belongs to, ANC. Very dependable, very result-oriented, that is highly guided with the highest level of ideology. Once you are no longer there, they tell you no. That was what my friend Julius Malema led there and formed his own party where he believed that these people were not proactive in action. When you look at those kind of situations, you will know that one, Cyril Ramaphosa is just trying to behave as if he's a demigod. To me, it's not even in God's classification, he's a stranger. Okay, once the party take a decision, it's gone.
But it seems corruption is fighting back at him, because he has been an arrowhead in fighting grafts in South Africa. So don't you think this is actually where it's been said that when you fight corruption, corruption seems to fight back at you? And this happens to be a very big dilemma for
when you fight
Ramaphosa.
Corruption, it's only in Nigeria people afraid that theory that corruption fights you. But brother, if your hand is clean, it's clean. I don't know. There are things that happen in this.
But is it possible to go through it all without having a black file?
I am wrong. I'm wrong, Riverboy. I came here through the gates. Anytime I am coming here to defense, the security should be bothered.
Yeah, of course, yes.
They should be bothered. And that is the society. Don't be bothered when you are fighting corruption. The question you should be asking your friends now, the way you are defending Cyril Ramaphosa, is to ask him whether he's aware. And there's already established fact that not been issue he was aware. He cannot eat his cake. He cannot eat his cake and have it. That is my point I'm trying to tell you. That anything you know about Ramaphosa, once he's aware that something like that happened, you quickly you quickly cry. There was a day, my wife told me that somebody paid money to her account. He was not expecting any money. Well, he called me in the office and he told me that, and I said, you will return that money to them. He said, one of his friends said, no, you should wait. I said, when you wait, you are no longer the wife of Lord Riverboat. Call the bank, go to the bank and explain. As God will have it, my wife went back to the bank and explained. And before then, they were already looking for a way to track the woman down. If they not track her down, it's a different game mentality. We must be able at a time to demonstrate that character. That we are human beings, we are not animals. Cyril Ramaphosa, he benefited from a process. He might be fighting corruption. I have never even, when everything about him, he's not even fighting, he's a bourgeois, as far as I'm concerned. He remained a bourgeois. It doesn't say he fighting corruption. He was not the one who set up the institutions that are fighting corruption in South Africa. He met them there. And that's the reason why the institutions are fighting. In the first place, when something is missing or something is wrong within the system, is it the head of your own unit you report on? The South African government, what we call Inspector General Police, they have it there.
Okay.
Why we expect him to take it to that level? He never did he work on that. The answer is no. Why are you not trying to?
Okay, in case you're just joining us, it's Africa Discourse, and we are looking at the fight against corruption and looking at the need to put a lasting solution to corruption cases in Africa in order to redirect policies and programs to the betterment of the people. And I'll be discussing with Royal Riverboat and, of course, also with Collins Amadine. And let's stretch this further. Let's look at this aspect where the heads of anti-graft agencies in Commonwealth Africa, staged the 12th edition of their program in Kigali. And all of this is to fashion out ways to tackle corruption in Africa. Now, what are the ways, or one of the ways that African can use to check against corruption within its continent?
Ordinarily, you would have expected them to work together, but unfortunately, they don't work together. They don't work in synergy. If you see the way Interpol operates, for example, when people who are organized put things together, you understand they are together. Because I will tell you, Interpol was not metaphorized by Africans. It was metaphorized by the Americans and the Europeans, though Africans became members because it's an international police system.
Yeah.
That is why they could not overbear it and weigh it down. Now referring it to the Nigerian arms deal in South Africa during President Jonathan. Now, South Africa, you can see just $4 million. That is what have involved Ramaphosa and what have you, that they are really, all of this, that they are digging $4 million. And now you know how many millions of dollars, Nigerian-owned money, that South African government have been using either to trade or to build the economy over the years from now. Now I expect our anti-graft agency, those years till now, to have woken up and begin to see how we can retrieve these funds back to Nigeria. And those who were capable for it to be tried. Now, how can they do this? Connectivity. The South Africa intelligence and crime institutions working with that of Nigeria, whether ICPC or EFCC or what have you, coming together. Sometimes there are some things they can do. EFCC will just be going on their own to say we are the one that is working well. They will just throw away ICPC. ICPC budget will not even be looked to because maybe the president's friend or whoever, the minister for justice or what have you, have a friend maybe in EFCC. Now, if we really have institutions, we can help. I'm happy they said they are holding meetings, but I don't really believe in African meetings because all those many ECOWAS meetings, trade, bilateral, what have you, and what have you done for us?
Okay.
It has really not helped us. Okay. But I just hope and I pray that someday that we have a direct call to really do the needful. Because one, Nigeria economy have been languishing over the years. If we have repatriated back that funds that have been held back by South African government, that's just one. It wasn't even just once. Up to 2 times is the last one that they actually got wind of. Now, how come the South African government, who is fighting corruption now, for example, if not for just personal interest, if truly they are even fighting government the way it's supposed to be? We have seen European countries, even American countries, even some Russia, some continent in Asia, repatriating funds that were stolen by other leaders in Africa countries back to Africa, haven't used their own intelligence, their anti-graft agencies to overhaul and see the reality. These people are suffering. Let us repatriate back. That is why you see even states are benefiting from funds that have been repatriated. But when it comes to Africa, they are so, I don't know whether to call it greed or self-wickedness or self-affliction that have been self-created by African leaders and African countries. For us to move forward, we must have a way of helping ourselves. Okay. And I think South Africa should take a lead role in this, because
by refunding the money.
The system have helped them in a way that they can prove just beyond fighting corruption within South Africa, but helping to also fight in the whole of Africa.
Okay, Africa as a continent is submerged in a lot of issues concerning fraud, corruption cases, where a huge amount of money are being wired, money being laundered, via the internet and all of this. Now, leaders actually in question seem not to be doing the right thing as expected by those that they are serving. Now, how do we put a check on this? Because we know there are various editions, of conferences being held, like the one was held in Kigali, happens to be the 12th edition.
Yeah.
Now, how do we put a stop to this? Do you think these conferences are really helping matters?
To me, those conferences to me are just, I saw it as a platform to just extend the pregnancy. They are not doing anything serious. Yes, they are not doing anything serious.
No, but it's also a platform to implement programs, policies,
that's why
and implement programs for Africa.
That is why I use the adjective, is to make more friends, to upload, to romance. I've not seen any seriousness from them.
But it gets towards ensuring that you strengthen the corridors within Africa. To work together for a particular purpose in fighting corruption.
That is the foundation.
So that becomes a very viable forum to do that.
That is the intention in ab initio. That is the intention. But what happened is something that you and I need to be very bothered. That if we are to use the EFCC as a case study, very just 2 days ago, I saw EFCC in a Ekiti election looking for who's collecting for 5,000, 2,000. I look at them. Now the one was televising there. I bow my head shame. I ran away from my television, and my daughter was saying, "Daddy, why are you running?" I said, "I'm bowing my head shame." People were collecting dollars in Abuja. You were not bothered.
But what you saw may be different from what others.
I watch it and I bow my head when I saw people wearing red. I said, "The EFCC looking for who is buying votes, who is selling votes." I said, "Is this the society we are building for ourselves?" Where they must have to be bothered about how to do track finance, the movement of finance, resources, money from one place to another. Okay. As I did that, those persons were withdrawing that money. I expect them to follow them. That is how a civilized continent is working. That's how
I think that's why we are a developing country. That's why we are still called.
If we are developing country, we must do what is right. We are not doing what is right.
We're not going to be on this stage.
We are not doing what is right. We are not doing what is right, because if you lay a wrong foundation, you cannot have a stronger building. And we must continue to cry out to say, let's do what is right. This is the only continent I know. This is only my country. Okay, my mother is from Africa. My mother is from Africa. My wife is from Africa. My children are also from Africa. I don't have any other. But Nigeria, we are supposed to be there, being the driver of Africa. That's it. This is what the West Africans, at the time, they took us very serious.
Okay, your final words in 2 seconds.
Now, they can't, there is no any international competition or tournament in terms of even when you watch the conference of the anti-graft agency, you saw where our EFCC chairman, the recognition. Because we cannot even walk up now, we were not able to qualify. Playing the elections club is a struggle. What do we really do in Africa again? Therefore, that Nigeria, the giant of a nation, all of a sudden,
okay, thank you.
It's not a crying nation.
Thank you. I take that as your final words on this segment. I take that as your final words on this edition.
I don't want to be very sober because of my birthday today.
Your final words in 1 minute.
Yeah, I believe that we are going somewhere as people, as Africa, particularly as Nigeria. Okay. Though we are learning very slowly, it's quite unfortunate, but I still believe that in the very just now, we will get there. And from 2023, I am very sure that most of our leaders haven't learned. There will be a lot of amendments to the way the people have been administered over the time.
Thank you very much, Royal Riverboy, for taking our time to be part of this show. And of course, Collins Amadin, once again, happy birthday. Are you going to show us the venue?
Happy birthday.
Going to be
thank you. I don't want to announce the venue yet.
Okay, so
you can join me my guest
time on the show.
hotel.
We'll do this on the next one. I'm Philip Omo. You have a beautiful day ahead of you. Goodbye.